Hi, Bill Henshaw again, another one of my current events videos. And this one involves an idiot named Dave Ramsey out of the Ramsey Associates. And this idiot is now being sued because he's fired a lot of people that work for him pursuant to a violation of his allegedly applicable righteous living code, apparently for having quote unquote premarital sex. And there's now a civil rights lawsuit. Good luck with that. Although amazingly enough, this may be a situation where the de facto National Socialist government has to make it look good. Who knows what might happen here, but that's not the way I would bring a lawsuit. Much better issues, as I've discussed in other videos, and you know very well. We use rights invoked by the Constitution. And oh, Dave, if you're listening out there, by the way, you bastard, first, first thing I would argue is that you fraudulently induced me into an employer-employee relationship, and it brings up a direct challenge after close to 90 years to the Fair Labor Standards Act, which I would love to get at. Federal government has no business being anywhere near there. And wouldn't you know, this was in the time period when they first decided this in the 1930s. This is the Switch in Time That Saved Nine by Owen Josephus Roberts, when they started to uphold all this crap where before it was held not to come within the scope of Congress' Interstate Commerce Clause powers. And note here, for what this may be worth, the Commerce Clause powers, and I know parts, and you know this, John Roberts, very well, ruled is closely associated with the Admiralty jurisdiction, the primary cause of the American Revolution. Not only that, they've ruled that the Commerce Clause powers are closely associated with that jurisdiction. Cases New Jersey Steam v. Merchants Bank. And Admiralty is not a jurisdiction a state court can exercise. They're constitutionally barred. Article 3, Section 2. Nothing hard about this. So if we're in one of those commercial courts, where the hell are we? We're not in a state admitted into this union. And that, by the way, is the argument I made in my South Carolina felony case where I stunned the courtroom into silence in the first 30 seconds of my initial appearance. I didn't say it quite that way, but I made the same point. Where the hell are we? And this in South Carolina, the cradle of states' rights. Probably people there today wouldn't even have heard of John C. Calhoun or Preston Brooks, to name two, that were big fans of states' rights, as should have been the case. With free, independent states, we were a lot better off, even with quote unquote slavery. Wasn't a perfect setup, but it's the only way we got the nation established, and the Constitution ordained and established is to do that. And I personally make no apologies for it. By the way, a quick note about this. Historically, in the 1860s, with the war between the states, it was clear to some observers that slavery was on the way out in any event because of all the automation that was going on. And, they would have had machines been able to do jobs, and it would have made no sense to have slaves year round, especially in the southern states. So, go figure. And Harriet Beecher Stowe's brother, Henry Ward Beecher, was one of the ones that foresaw this. He understood the situation. It would have taken another probably 10, 15 years, maybe a little more, but slavery was on the way out. It would have been ended in any event without any need for Congress to pass all the war acts they passed back then, including the Reconstruction Act of 1867, the Civil Rights Act of 1866, and the 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th Amendments, to name a few. All of them after that are war powers amendments too, just so you know that. But that said, I don't know where this bastard gets off telling me what I'm going to do in my private life. If I have premarital sex, how the hell does that affect my job performance? I'm not a big fan of that for different reasons, however, as I've said on other videos. Why would anybody in their right mind today want to bring a child into this world to start out with? With all the automation and robotics we have at an increasing pace, what in the world are they going to do to find a job when they get 18, 19 years old, to find a good job where they can do the rest of their life and take care of themselves? We're going to have a lot of automized school teachers. And this, by the way, could do away with a lot of universities, hopefully starting in Palo Alto, California, Stanford. We'll have a lot of automized people in the hospitals and emergency rooms and maybe doctors' offices. I'm sure there are a lot of that can't be done, at least at this point in time, with automation, but who knows in another generation, 15 or 20 years, what they'll invent to do even the most sensitive of surgeries. So, yeah, you can make the arguments, there's good ones. If we had a lawful government, for the idea of birth control. And I've talked about that on a recent video that I've just done. But for this idiot to say he has the power to do that and he has total power to discharge you for any reason or no reason, get out of here. And who knows, I may see if I can join up with this lawsuit. You got attorneys in there that probably not want to hear anything I have to say because they've been on the fix too. But if you go in there with the issues that I use, where these federal laws violate all 6 articles of the Constitution, then what this guy's relying on, it's nowhere close. And not only that, but you have to realize the other thing that's involved here is the company that you created doesn't have any legal standing. In case you don't know it, uh, Dave Ramsey, the problem is that you're registered to do business with the Secretary of State that's in the territory, probably of Delaware, but any one of the quote unquote states territory. The problem you have there is that at least lawful de jure jus sanguinis free white state citizens, if not others, are domiciled in a judicial district of a state admitted into this union. What does that mean? You can't come into our jurisdiction and our judicial courts unless we let you, and maybe even not then, as you'll learn from acquiring my modestly priced documents packets, constitutional defense document packets. Send me an email, uwinnincourt@gmail.com, and you learn that corporations simply don't have standing to do it. And they can't compel us into their jurisdiction. That gets into what's called the Pennoyer Rule of the U.S. Supreme Court, Pennoyer v. Neff 95 U.S. 714. When they serve you process, effective service of process is essential to the jurisdiction of the court. Now, if all we have as what I call birthright citizens are artificial corporate entities, and that was the secret intent of the non-existent 14th War Amendment that nobody outside the secret committee of 15 on Reconstruction in Congress knew about. Where is the consent of the governed there, number one? Number two, if that's all they recognize as corporate citizens, or citizens, I should say, and they have the same citizenship that we do, whoa, how does this happen? That we don't know any of this and we've lost all our rights in our states and everything in the bargain, and now we have no rights. The de facto national socialist government is bound to respect. Doesn't work that way. If we still have a constitution, and if you're listening, John Roberts and justices of the court, this question's coming your way full steam ahead on the express train. Find out if we do, we can't possibly lose because you can't justify any of this. No matter what logic you try to use, it's not there. So that said, you'll be hearing from me out there, Dave Ramsey, at the company you work for with questions like this. And if I can get involved in this suit, perhaps as a private attorney general, and turn it around, I may attempt to do that because you just simply can't do this. Righteous living. What the hell is that to start with? Where did you sign on for it when you signed into the employment agreement? It's not there. You can't make it up as you go along, just like Congress thinks it can do. Not how it works. You're going to be in for a jolt here, and I hope I'm the one to give it to you. But that said, remember to send me an email, uwinnincourt@gmail.com, for information on my constitutional defense document packets. And remember, we all have to work together, Americans, Asian, Africans. If we do it together and end 150 years plus of divide and conquer, we get there a hell of a lot faster, get back to the government and republic that we should have, and we can go from there. Thank you.